But that for me, it was a fan interaction. I think it's great that you can have a free event for your fans. Kids can get autographs, interact with players. And that's how you build your fan base up, is my belief. Get the kids there, they meet the players, they get the autograph. We got great guys on this team. And kids want to come back they ask their parents, they bring me back to the game, because I met Jalen Hill and he signed my shirt, So I think that it's just a great event for that purpose. From the basketball standpoint, not a whole lot.
How do you feel the team's been building as you get closer to the season?
All coaches wish we had another month of practice before you had to actually play a game. But you get to a point where nothing's going to help you except playing a game. You reach a point where you need to play games, and from a coaching staff, then you can make those adjustments that you need to make. So that you can, and then you got to get stuff on film so guys can start to understand things you're telling them in practice. So you reach a point where you have to play games to move forward. But doesn't mean you like it as a coach. Most of us, Rick Bird retired last year from Belmont. He told me he hated games. Loved practice, hated games. That's most of us.
What about this exhibition game? Anything in particular you want to see from your guys?
Well, yeah, sure. I hope we know how to run out of the tunnel, how to warm up. Hopefully nobody gets a tee. When I go to put them in, they got to run to the table. We may or may not have had a scrimmage where that happened, where somebody just did, you got to go check in. So yeah, I mean, it's all that's why you got to play one exhibition, just to get all that stuff worked out. There's a reason we all don't play two scrimmages. You got to put the uniforms on, get in front of people, work out the nerves, get out there, make sure you check in when at the table.
Who was that?
Well, we may or may not have had a scrimmage. I can't confirm that. So, if I told you who it was, I'd have to kill you. Or I'd be in trouble in Indianapolis. No, I'm just kidding. So, there's a lot of good that comes from playing these games, just working out kinks, getting the guys out there. From our standpoint, you're trying to build a new style of play with a bunch of guys. And again, you reach a point where you can only practice only takes you so far. Now the challenge is, can we take over the things that we've practiced into a game setting? Because that's what it's all about, carryover. I think there's a lot of coaches that have great ideas. You got to be able to get your team to do it. And then you got to play the guys that'll play the way you want them to play. The other guys will learn that they're not going to play if they don't play Bruin basketball, which for us is team first. Team first, and there's a lot of individual glory in making your team win.
Everybody come out of that all right? Everybody okay as far as the injuries front?
Yeah, I think right now Jaime's dealing with a little bit of something that he didn't practice, but just for us, bumps and bruises right now, nothing significant.
Seemed like Kenneth Luba made a couple of nice moves in that showcase. Is he somebody who you think maybe you can get some usage out of?
Well, I sure hope so. I mean, I like I said, I think depth will have to be a big factor for us this year. That being said, you got 12 scholarship guys, and even I think Russell Strong could help us if we needed him to. Of course, I'm half crazy, but that's okay. Just because he's smart, he can make a shot. But I think Kenneth is a guy who practices hard. He's got a great attitude. Like I said, I wish he would have redshirted last year. But in my career, player development has been a big thing. The places I've been, the guys I've worked for, 5-star players were not falling off trees. So we had to develop players. So I'm used to coaching guys like Kenneth. And if his attitude stays the way it is, he'll get better. I think he's one of the strongest guys around the rim I've ever coached. So like you said, what you're alluding to, if he gets the ball deep, it's hard. You can't displace him. It's hard to knock him off balance. You can't take the ball from him. So in those areas, that's his strength right now. Moving his feet on the perimeter defensively in today's game is paramount. That's the biggest area he's got to improve at.
Over the summer, there was an article in Forbes where you said you wanted to have the top offense, defense, and rebounding in the nation. After seeing the team in practice, how attainable are those goals?
Well, I think every year, you know, people always hit me with, the defensive stuff. We'd like to lead the country in offense as well, and rebounding. We'd also like to lead the country in every possible category, which would be baseline out of bounds defense, baseline out of bounds scoring, free throw percentage. You're always trying to be the best you can at everything. I think right now, I'm not going to talk about leading the country in anything. I think when you're in the first year of taking over a program, we need to worry about being able to not give the ball away. This team in particular had a lot of turnover problems. So before we start talking about leading the country and scoring, we might make sure that we don't lead the Pac-12 in turnovers, which I think we did last year. So it's just a process, trying to get better every day. So we don't talk about leading anything. We just try to talk about playing the game the right way and trying to improve every day.
How's the team coming along in that regard?
No, they've been great. Their attitude and effort's been great. But again, adversity comes in the form of an opponent. You're going to look good in practice because if the blue team looks bad, it's because the gold team is looking good. So you go home feeling like somebody played well, right? So as a coach, there's always going to be good and bad. So that's why you got to start playing some games at some point. You figure out what you got to do to improve. I think that you've heard me talk a lot about it's the first year and you're trying to establish a culture that the players have to understand why we will have success and what causes failure. And togetherness, competitiveness, having the right attitude, being physical with what we do, understanding that you have to get your job done, and that there's another guy that's practicing right now for the other team and try to stop you from getting your job done. So it's not going to be easy. So it's just all that stuff that as a coach, you're trying to get your guys ready for battle, trying to get them prepared. So they have to go through it though. So if you have problems now on your team, it's going to be a long year. Everybody's right now still thinks they're going to start and play 30 minutes and lead the team in scoring. So your culture and your togetherness get challenged when the stat sheet comes out from your first game. And Ben didn't get to play as much as he had hoped. Alex Timrose didn't get as many shots as he wanted. That's when it all comes into play. And what are we about?
I always been good for minutes.
Exactly. I knew you did.
Yeah. If you had to kind of capture the essence of your defense in 5 words or less, what would your defense?
Mine would be 2. My dad would tell you, really bad. I played for my dad. I was bad.
Not your.
No, I'm teasing. Mine, bad, really bad. Not bad, really bad. He hid me at the bottom of a 1-3-1. I would say I would give you 3. Not easily scored upon. 4. You can't get. You can't. I was trying to give you. You can't be easily scored upon, or how many words you want it. Are we there yet? I don't know.
What does that mean? Obviously.
I would say because if you're going to compete for the Pac-12 championship, you have to understand that, the best teams, they're hard. They don't let you score easily. They just don't. Whether Virginia, Cincinnati, when I was there, it's hard to score a basket.
Yeah.
So if you're preparing to beat those teams, how are you? If you're easily scored upon, you got no chance because they're not going to let you score easily. It's not going to happen, right? So you got to prepare to beat those teams. If you can score easily, I like UCLA's chances. If we can go out and just run up and down and get 85, I like our chances. But you got to be prepared to beat certain teams. It's not easy. So you when you start talking about that, you've got to realize when you go on the road, I don't care who you play on the road, it's hard to score. So you can't be easily scored upon. Now, if you're looking for X and O's and all that, that not really inclined to start talking about my defensive strategies and philosophies. But if you just think about that, because certain teams are great three-point shooting teams, you have to stop that. Other teams, you got great inside game. Other teams may have a great point guard or they're great in transition. So you have to be able to stop different strengths off of teams. They score different ways. So you can't just be good at defending the three. You got to be good at everything to be able to stop every type of team, because they all score. Teams score in different ways.
Is there anything that a small team like Stanislaus State or whoever you did or didn't play in your scrimmage, is there anything that smaller schools like that bring that you like to play against, like a scrappy kind of underdog mentality?
To be honest with you, theoretically, yes. But this year, I didn't know anybody, so I asked Chris Carlson to find us an exhibition game. And to be, being it's our first year, we're just so focused on us right now and getting our guys comfortable in the way we do things, because it's new for all of them, that I didn't really put a lot of thought into any thought into who we were playing. I just say, hey, Chris, get us a game. We just got to worry about us. Now, in my past, and hopefully here in my future, we tried to always play Bellarmine, who was top 5 or number 1 in the country, Division II, because they're so good offensively. It puts a lot of pressure on your defense. But I couldn't really stand there and tell you a lot about Stanislaus. I've been focused on Long Beach and just really worried about the Bruins, trying to worry about the Bruins. But yes, I think there's a lot to be said, though, to try to, in the future, as we get comfortable trying to play the best possible team in an exhibition game. And most coaches would not do that. I just think it's stressful because your fans are going to go, what the heck, and you get beat. But what I would tell you is, I know Tom Izzo went to a Final Four and I believe he lost to Finley. And I know Bob Huggins went to a Final Four and he lost to Athletes in Action. So I think that playing the best team you can play can help you. It's just this year, my mind was I was so busy until Chris get us a game. I just been focused on us this year.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.